Sometimes a TV show that seems like it should be canceled immediately ends up running for a decade. But more often, a show that obviously deserves infinite renewals doesn't make it past season 1. We've rounded up our absolute favorite examples of the latter from the last 20 years. The one-episode or one-season wonders, whose quick cancellations felt like a personal attack. So don't forget to watch today's video to the very end to find the top 20 TV shows that were canceled after the first episode or season. Number 10. Firefly, 2002 to 2003. A genre series created by a beloved showrunner and canceled before its first season and even finished airing is more or less destined for cult status. And that's exactly what happened to Firefly, which was created by Joss when on hot off his Buffy days. It follows the crew of the Serenity, a Firefly-class spaceship crewed by a found family of nice pirates and captained by Malcolm Reynolds. Nathan Fillion, a freedom-obsessed space cowboy and former soldier, on the losing side of a civil war. He pilots his crew around the solar system, pilfering, smuggling, and getting into all kinds of trouble. The only season of the show is set in the far future after humans have colonized another star system, and blends a number of recognizable Earth cultures together. Many of the characters speak occasionally in Chinese throughout the show. Number 9. Awake, 2012. Imagine suddenly living in two timelines following a car accident. In one reality, your wife died, your son lived, your therapist is played by BD Wong, and your cop partner is Wilmer Valderrama. In the other, it's your son who died, your wife lived, and you're being diagnosed by Cherry Jones. Which reality is real, and what's happening to you? Such was the premise of this fantastically high-concept drama from showrunner Kyle Killen and starring Jason Isaacs. In each rain-soaked episode, Isaacs addled detective solve cases using clues he discovered in the other timeline, a clever conceit that allows him to solve the bigger mystery of who tried to kill him just in time for the series finale. John Sellers. Number 8. Brad Neely's Hard Nalin Sclopio Pipio, 2016. Brad Neely, creator of YouTube deep cuts such as George Washington and TV shows such as China, Illinois, is a weirdo. He let it all hang out in Brad Neely's Hard Nalin Sclopio Pipio, the purposefully nonsensical title for his one-and-done animated sketch show intended for the late-night block on Adult Swim with episodes clocking in a brisk 11 minutes. What BNHNSP, don't make me type it again, is about is? Well, I'm not exactly sure. It's both nothing, with extremely short, unconnected, absurd sketches or songs about like living in the woods featuring familiar characters, if you've seen any of Neely's other projects, and also something with each episode title addressed to some female pop culture icon, i.e. for Aretha, for Knowles, for the Jenners, etc. It's like Robot Chicken, but also not at all. It's easy to see why it was renewed. It was truly so weird. But TV became a duller place without it. Number 7. The Break with Michelle Wolf, 2018. After a string of failed Netflix late-night talk shows, The Break with Michelle Wolf seemed like it'd be the one that stuck for more than a season. But even premiering on the coattails of Wolf's White House correspondent dinner speech that went viral and staffed with writers from Clickhole and The Onion could not save The Break. Still, while it lasted, it was wonderfully weird, injecting legitimately funny sketches that spoke to our modern condition in between proudly leftist monologues and screeds. We miss its strong point of view and irreverent sense of humor. Number 6. Bunheads, 2012 to 2013. With Gilmore Girls, Amy Sherman Palladino created a generational touchstone. With the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, she got a heaping of awards. But in between those juggernauts, she gave us an underappreciated gem. Bunheads took some of the formula of Gilmore Girls and added dance numbers. A fast-talking gal, Sutton Foster, moves to a small town, this time in California, full of quirky characters and a domineering broad played by Kelly Bishop, aka Emily Gilmore. This time she's not a single mom, but a former showgirl who leaves Vegas to be with a man who promptly dies. She's left teaching dance to a gaggle of eager ballerinas, becoming a big sister cool mom type figure to the lot. The greatest joy of Bunheads is how it uses dancing, sometimes letting a big number serve as an explanation of a character's emotional state. Number 5. Caprica, 2010. Prequels and prequel series almost unequivocally kind of suck. We don't really need to know what happened in the past that got us to whatever point the main story started off at, and though many creators may find it fun to play around with backstories and new angles, it's more often than not a waste of time. The Battlestar Galactica reboot found itself in this kind of situation. We know humans used to live in the 12 colonies and built a race of androids that became sentient religious zealots and overthrew their creators in a surprise coup that left little more than a single spaceship, a lab with the remains of humanity. We don't need to know this stuff before that, except sci-fi's prequel series Caprica, which aired after Battlestar, ended but was in the works long before, is actually really good. The show begins 58 years before the Cylons enacted their final revenge, and chronicles the blood feud between two families, the Greystones and the Adamas. Sound familiar? As they live unknowingly in the last decades of humanity's empire, in a time of wild prosperity where virtual AI avatars and cyborg technology run amok. Number 4. The Class 2006 to 2007. The Class is sort of a who's who of actors whose careers are about to explode. The sitcom was a clear attempt to be the next Friends from Friends creator David Crane, and follows a bunch of third-grade classmates who reunite when they are all 27 and in different stages of disillusionment. It features Lizzie Kaplan post-Mean Girls but pre-Party Down, John Bernthal pre-The Walking Dead, Jesse Tyler Ferguson pre-Modern Family, and Jason Ritter pre-Parenthood. The jokes don't all hold up, but the cast is so good it's easy to forget that. Number 3. Clone High 2003. Before the Lego Movie was even the tiniest one by one brick in the minds of its creators, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, along with screenwriter and director Bill Lawrence, created Clone High, a Canadian-American adult animation show about a high school whose student body is made up of the newly cloned bodies of famous historical figures. The protagonists of the series are clones of Abraham Lincoln, Joan of Arc, and Mahatma Gandhi, with appearances by Cleopatra and John F. Kennedy. And the plot loosely centers around the fact that the high school was created by the U.S. military to study and utilize the abilities of the world's most famous people. The show acts as a parody of high school set teen shows, with every episode introduced as a very special episode. Number 2. The Event 2010 to 2011. Hyped repeatedly as, well, a big event, the premiere episode of this sci-fi corker starring Jason Ritter, Blair Underwood, and Zeljko Ivanek drew a respectable audience of nearly 11 million. That number quickly dwindled by more than half, and those of us who watched the actually good cliffhanger finale were met with the grim news that NBC had canceled the series. We'll never find out what happened to the always good Ritter's charismatic Everman Sean and his perpetually imperiled girlfriend Layla, Sarah Romer, who had just revealed that she was pregnant while also suffering mildly from an alien pathogen designed to eliminate the human race. We'll never again see that girl who, in the show's most memorable moment, turned around to reveal old face. And we'll never find out how the hell mankind would ever survive the devious aliens now that their entire home planet had arrived in Earth's orbit, aka the titular event. Calling all Hillis and Netflixes. Please revive this amazing show. Number 1. Everything Sucks 2018. Netflix's version of Freaks and Geeks won't scratch quite the same ensemble drainage, but it was solid enough for a single Netflix season. R.I.P. Set in the 90s, the show tells the coming-of-age stories of one Oregon high school's IV and drama club members, embellishing the proceedings with plenty of pop culture and slang from the era. Though Everything Sucks occasionally feels like it's trying too hard, beating you over the head with on-the-nose music cues, references, and borderline absurd dialogue, it makes up for its shortcomings by tackling admirable territory and populating its world with sympathetic characters. There's Peyton Kennedy, Kate Messner, a sophomore who's coming to terms with her sexuality, and Luke O'Neill, Jahai Diallo Winston, a freshman who's trying to fit in and woo Peyton. And the good news is the co-stars are a thrill to watch. If you can see past the mostly superficial period toppings, Everything Sucks makes for a nice, nostalgic trip back to the 90s, one with positive messages, and one that's bingeable in a day or two. With that, we come to the end of this video. Don't forget to join in a next time for more of such interesting content.